But really, it's this. They might come in 6 to 7 minutes, but a lot can happen in 6 to 7 minutes. And so, why don't we?
I'm
Get
going
to
to
the point where we
refrain
don't
from
get to
making
that
any
point.
jokes about that because I think they'd be in poor taste. But
Yeah.
you make a very valid
But you
point.
just made it. You implied
I
it.
implied one.
So
That is
it's
true.
Too late.
That
It's
is,
too
but
late.
that is, it's both a joke and a reality.
Yeah, no,
Everything that
absolutely.
matters in that scenario is going to happen before the cops get there.
Absolutely.
9 times out of 10.
Absolutely.
And you wrote, that was a great New York Times piece.
Thank
and you
you.
wrote in it, this is a personal thing for you. You grew up in a single mother household. You had been assaulted. This isn't just some political philosophy conversation. This is something that you can really speak about as an individual.
Absolutely. And also the fact that at that point when I was making those decisions of, man, I do want to fight for this issue because, it is not even a political issue because I dealt with it, but I was coming from the left at that point. I was brand new. I don't even think at that time I made a decision that I realized, you know what, I do have conservative values. And that's why I realized I can strongly, go to the point that it is not a political issue. It really is American issue. It's a human rights issue. It really is. But particularly with women and the differences that science has proven over and over again. But really, when it's not even just about that, you are coming against someone who is a male or a woman who has a firearm. That person's going to win,
right.
Regardless of how big you are, if you're male or not.
I know, I am very macho. It is true. I physically intimidate a lot of attackers.
Italians.
That's at least one of those is true. Yeah.
It adds to it. So, but no, even despite all those great qualities, it's still best for you at that point to have something that's going to be an equalizer. So I think that's important.
Do you think there's a racial component of this? Specifically toward arming young black women who are, say, disproportionately more likely to be assaulted? Or do you think there is a racial inequality on this issue?
I think, the stats have been showing that black women are the fastest growing demographic who are becoming gun owners. And so I think they are seeing that, whether it's a political issue, and that's a lot of people, they hate this fact that, black women are now becoming gun owners. And so they twist it into, well, it's because what happened the last year? Oh, it's Trump, racism. And it's just been just blown up in proportion.
Right.
And that's why we have guns now. Yes.
To protect against Trump. Yeah, that's the
protect
worry.
against Trump and the racism that's, just prevalent now just because of it. No, and I always, when they talk to me about that, they'll interview me about that and be like, no, it's been happening the last few years before we even knew about Trump. So it has nothing to do with that. For me, I think it's also has to do with the rise of women in general. A lot more of us, you talk about feminism, a lot more of us are, by ourselves at home. A lot of us are still pursuing education longer. Maybe, that transition from leaving a household where your father figure is there and then having it where your spouse is there. There's a bigger gap there. So a lot more women feel that they have to take safety into their own hands. And I actually also think that's just an extension of, if you want to bring the feminist aspect of it, the feminist movement is an extension of that independence. And so black women especially are in these areas that tend to be, statistically more dangerous, and they're by themselves. And so I hear all the time with other women with their daughters, and they're like, I want to buy this gun because I want to protect my daughter. I want to know how to use it. I want to protect myself. So I think that's really what it's about.
That's the single woman